Hi everyone, welcome to today's guest speaker session with Mr. Prasanth. I know all of you have gone through a little bit about him and you've read about his profile as well. But to start the session, Mr. Prashant, I'd love if you give us a little bit background into what is it that you're currently working on, and then we'd have everybody ask their questions and go a lot deeper into what is it that you're working on. Is that okay?
Sure, sure. So I'll start by welcoming you all here. Uh, Let me be very honest. This is the first time that I'm actually, addressing a forum like this. So please excuse all the mistakes that I make during the journey. Anyways, I've been a marketing person throughout my life. I've worked with advertising agencies, I've worked with brands, B2B brands largely. Uh, but there was a point in time when, I realized that offline marketing is actually going to be, you know, it's not going to be very cost effective. So from there on, we started thinking of some idea how we can, create a business for ourselves as well as create an ecosystem which actually starts giving value to the consumer. So you all would be aware of the line we often used to use earlier. A few years back, consumer is king, right? Uh, so a lot of companies actually started believing in that, but I was in marketing, so I understood that that's not the case. We are building brands, we are building businesses, but somewhere down the line, we are not, building a business which is actually effective for a consumer or a value proposition for a consumer. So, without how do we change that? How do we address that? If at all we can start with something small, which can start changing things. So he said the first thing that a consumer is looking as is the value. So they buy the product. Unfortunately, with so much of competition, you know, it- most of the businesses are trading businesses and not really, a production business or a manufacturing business. So there's one manufacturer, and I am only talking about the D2C space, right? There are very few players who are actually manufacturing also, but most of them are actually trading, right? So there's no product differentiation. So how much of a differentiation can you create through advertising if the product is same, right? So consumer understands. Consumer is no fool. So they understand that these products are same. And somewhere down the line, communicating too much, too technical, too many things about the product or about the brand, we have actually confused the consumer. So now he has started to believe that, boss, everybody is making money out of my pocket. So what I should do is I should look for a value. I should look for discounts. I should look for this thing. Okay, to my satisfaction, I am buying an Ayurvedic product, so I'm taking care of my health, for an example. But that's about it. So now they're not really connected to a brand. There are a few brands who are actually doing good and they have some good products also. But in a larger scenario, that is the case. So we thought let's build something on that. So we have created a SaaS-based platform. So we did evolve a system, an algorithm, which actually gives immense value to a consumer uh, while using the same kind of margins that a brand is already charging from a consumer, right? So, for example, in our case, what happens is that a user, if let's say they buy a product worth rupees 1,000 rupees, they can get a cashback of up to 5,000 rupees every month for next 12 months, right? Uh, and that's the algorithm that we have built. It is based on a community model, which is also derived from compounding method. People who are aware about, who do a lot of financial planning and all, they would know how compounding works. In fact, there's a story also about the chessboard and rice grains. I think it's also mentioned in one of the books by Robert Kiyosaki. So that's how the compounding works. And leveraging that model, we have created our algorithm, which actually enables us to give that kind of a cashback. So that's the model. And we have already launched it. We are now looking to partner with brands. We are trying to onboard more and more brands. And yeah, so that's the whole crux of the thing is. That's my introduction.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Prashant. I think that was interesting. So I would like to take questions from everyone. It's an open forum. So anybody who wishes to ask a question can just unmute themselves and start. Yeah, Rangnath, go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, first to spending time with all of us, Mr. Prashant. So, I was keen. I mean, who are your customers? Is it like the other businesses who are coming on board, or is it the end customer who is trying to gain value out of it directly?
Okay, so see, as an organization, we have uh, we created this project or this platform keeping some objectives in mind, right? Um I am a firm believer that a business has to be uh, more than anything has to be ethical. It has to be true and transparent to the stakeholders, whether it is the brand, the suppliers, the vendors, or the consumer on the other side, right? So what we did was this system actually works for both of them. So it's not a system which wherein I am just giving value to the brand and I am giving value only to the consumer. No. So this system, what it does is, see, uh, today we all are very habitual of social media, right? We are connecting. So I have so many connections in LinkedIn, so many connections on Facebook, but to be honest, I have only spoken to about, 10% or 15% of them ever in my life. So that's the kind of word we are living in. So we said, okay, we can leverage that also. So our coming back to the question, our target audience on one side is are the brands, D2C brands, specifically D2C brands. We are in phase one of our business. So we are specifically for D2C brands right now. Phase two would be to reach out to the offline brands. So this whole system will get to offline model as well. But that's phase two and that's sometime later in the future. But right now, all D2C brands would be our customers. Now, so not everyone would be your customer. So, for example, let's say there's a product like food product like Domino's. There's a brand like Domino's, right? So Domino's, for us, a Domino's would be a better customer than a product like a medicinal product, which addresses one particular this thing, because our model is based on referrals. So if you reduce the referability of a product, right? If that product is less referable, then the problem would be that the system will not work too efficiently. Is it clear? Am I making sense? So that's where we are. So the more generic the product is, the better customer they'll be for us. And obviously, since we are giving value to the consumer, the consumer would indirectly be our target audience.
Right. So is it going to be like a system where the brands get benefited with better reach through the customer's network itself, or is it going to be any different?
Okay. So see, what is happening currently? So the biggest challenge that D2C brands have is that they spend a lot of money in acquisition of customers, right? And then there is no scientific way to retain customers. The hopes that they have is on the loyalty models that they run, right? They keep giving back certain part of their sales back to them, to retain them. But unfortunately, they can't give high percentages. So that cashback or that loyalty that a consumer gets is very, very low, very, very insignificant for his mind to actually come back to the brand. What we are doing is, on a purchase of 1,000 rupees, a customer gets 5,000 rupees worth of cashback every month. So that's the ideal scenario. So it depends on the referrals and depends on how his community works. Depending on the community purchases, the cashback will be generated. But that's the maximum number, maximum cashback. This 5,000 is divided into two parts, which is reward points and which is also cash points. So 50% each. Now, cash points can be redeemed in his account, whereas reward points are used again to purchase on the client's platform itself. So what happens is, uh, so this user is purchasing every month now because he has a certain value of reward points, and he's also getting cash. In such a scenario, I don't think any other loyalty model, at least I haven't seen any other loyalty model which comes close to us. So that is why we say that, it's a very unique system, and we don't know how things will turn up. So we'll have our own challenges, but this is something very new. So there's no studies, there's no benchmarking available to us right now.
Right. And last question from my end. So why can't companies do this by themselves? And what is it different or that you are bringing onto the table?
Okay, so see, anything can be copied, anything can be done. An idea that occurs to you can occur to me as well, right? In fact, there are a lot of cases where the pioneers of a particular idea are now out of business, but people who started a little later, are doing much better. So, in the current context, Zepto is the biggest scenario, right? uh, it's all about, sometimes it is all about using that idea and coming out with something which is much better for everyone, right? um, so in our case, what we have done is, it's not just the algorithm that we have created. First of all, creating that algorithm which gives such kind of a cashback to everyone, and also remains profitable. So it's not, so even if one single sale is made through our platform, is profitable. So profitable to us, the efforts of marketing is much lesser for the brand, the cost of marketing is much lesser for the brand, the value that a consumer gets is much higher, right? So it's a win-win situation for all. uh, we have, okay, so see, the business that we started, the whole concept was to do something good, right? It was never to earn profits. We know that profits will come, but then ethically, what we have done is, we have chosen to stay with one single client in every category, right? I will never go to, if I'm running on Domino's, I'll never go to Pizza Hut. I'll never go to Avan Story. I'll never go to any other client. Maybe McDonald's, because Pizza Hut and Domino's and McDonald's are a little different in their product offering. So that is the case. So I think the systems, the processes, the ethics, and everything that we have put in place makes us different. And yes, cracking that algorithm, it took us 4 years to crack the algorithm. And finally, to build it, uh, we took another 2 years. So it has been a journey of about 6 years, where we have done it again and again, tested it again and again. And finally, we are at a stage we are saying that, it is not perfect, but as close as perfect it can be. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It does. It does. I have a lot of follow-up questions, but I'll leave it to
No,
somebody else
please,
and
please,
come back.
Paridhi can share my number, and any type of question you have, you can always reach back to me.
Sure, sure,
Now,
sir. Sir.
you can
Yeah,
ask it here or otherwise directly.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rangnath. Who's going in with their next question? Yes, Amrit.
Yeah, I had a question. So I just wanted to know how does your model helps, in building the brand loyalty for the brand or the company that you're working with in
Okay.
consumers? Yeah,
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get your name.
I'm Amruta. Amruta.
Amrita. Okay. Hi, Amrita. Have you used any of the loyalty programs or any of the brands where you have, referred someone recently? Can I
No,
ask you why you didn't get any kind of a system like that, or you consciously avoid referring?
I think I did not get a system like that.
Not like ours, but maybe there are a lot of say even Paytm offers a refill model where you refer this thing and you get 100 rupees or something.
Yes, but or maybe I just ignored all those and I did not work on it. I did not take any action. I got it, but I did not really. Yeah.
Okay. So see, how a human mind is made is that uh, when the value is insignificant, or as soon as something is thrown at you, right, you start building a value for it in your subconscious mind. So something, so let's say, I'll give you it's a very bad example, but so let's say if you're walking down a path, right, and you have 10 rupees, you see some 10 rupees, and there's a donation box next to it. So probably you'll pick up, drop it. 100 rupees, drop it. 500 rupees. But if there are 5,000 rupees, probably you'll think, yeah, 5,000 rupees, I can do something with it. So it's not about being right or wrong, but then again, that's how human mind is made. So, you keep on building value to this thing, and everything you put a value to everything. So first of all, 0.75% cashback of rupees 1,000 purchase is not really something that excites anyone. So probably back of your mind, you have not done that. So what we have done is how our system works is, or how our system creates a retention is. Let's take example of Domino's, right? Now you're a user of Domino's. Uh, how much you spend on Domino's over a year, let's say?
Not very significant. It's
Okay.
hardly
And
twice a year or so.
so do you order Domino's from Zomato, Swiggy, or from their website?
Uh, Earlier it was from the website, but now I feel Zomato or Swiggy is more convenient.
Yeah. So it is not just convenient. See, it works similarly as Domino's does. Domino's is a fantastic logistical model, right? And what Zomato does is nothing but aggregation and logistics. So in your mind, you have made up this thing that Zomato is convenient, but actually it is not. Domino's is convenient. The convenience you find is having multiple apps, or reaching out to multiple this thing, or seeking a value. So you go to Zomato, right? You have options, and that's what we are looking for. So though you have in your mind that okay, I'll order pizza, but when you go to Zomato, you see 10 different things. Okay, I am getting a 50% off on burger, then I would rather have a burger than pizza, right? So what happens here is that Zomato is not just it's actually a problem for Domino's, because they are eating Domino's market share in this case, right? Now, if you get, if let's say you buy twice from Domino's in 1 year, right? Now coming back to Domino's, you want to order a pizza. You go to Domino's website, right? You order a pizza. You order for 1,000 rupees. Now, within 1,000 rupees, what we offer. So, by the way, our model is called community cashback model, right? So now, what you do is you buy for 1,000 rupees, then you get your pizza, but you also get an option of referring four people, five people, depending on the understanding that we have. You refer, you put name, number, and email IDs of your friends who you think would benefit from or eat pizza, right? That's where it happens. Now, what you are getting is a an option of generating 5 times the purchase value. So 5,000 rupees. So isn't that a significant value? It's a significant value. But uh, to be very honest, right, only about 20% of the whole consumers go for loyalty programs. That's a fact, right? And we are okay. Even if there are 20% people who are coming back on our platform and joining the platform, we would be home. From there, what happens is that now you have bought it for this thing and you have referred, let's say, 4 people. And we are assuming that, all those people further refer and create their communities and all. So you start getting your cashback every month. Now you get cashback of 5,000 rupees, out of which 2,500 rupees is your reward points and 2,500 rupees is your cash. So you get 2,500 rupees. Now, what will you do with the reward points? You'll obviously spend it on Domino's only. So ultimately, what is happening is that you buy only twice from Domino's, maybe 1,000 rupees each, so 2,000 rupees. Now, what you're doing is every month you're buying 2,500 rupees worth of products from Domino's because you have reward points. You have 2,500 rupees worth of value for them, right? So now what will you do is you'll not go to Zomato. You'll say I'll go to Domino's directly, and I'll get pizza worth rupees 2,500 rupees because now you'll start eating more pizza or probably start treating your friends. So that's how the retention is built. Now this will not be ideal. So let me be very honest. First month you'll not get 2,500 rupees. First month probably you'll get 500 rupees, right? Next month you'll get 1,500 rupees. But eventually you'll reach in 3 to 4 months time, depending on how your community is purchasing. You will reach that within 3 months or 4 months time. And then also it is a significant amount. Plus you will have cash also. And that is how we are planning to build the retention. And because it is a multiplication model, so it'll work like 1 into 2 into 4 into 8 into 16, so on and so forth. So for first maybe 10, 12 stages, it will not be a significant number, but suddenly it will shoot up.
Okay,
So
Amrita, yeah. Was your did the
Yes, yes.
answer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
I
have a follow-up question to that?
no, I think all my questions are answered. Thank you.
and please let me know if I have confused you further. So uh,
No, no, not at all, sir.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have a question before I let anybody else. I'm really sorry. But yeah, so I understood the user's point of view, a consumer's point of view, they're getting a big value. But somebody, even if somebody's getting a 1,500 cashback, that's kind of like bleeding money from the brand itself, who's giving it away based on the fact that there might or might not be referral to a person who might or might not join the platform. So how are we making sure that from a brand's point of view that it's not like they're bleeding money into it?
Okay, so again, like I said, we wanted this model to be profitable to everyone, a win-win situation, right? Uh, Currently, what is it? I mean, you are in D2C business. What is the current customer acquisition cost on an average for a brand which sells 1,000 rupees worth of products?
But what if the D2C brand is on a platform like Amazon? Then the customer acquisition cost might be a little less, maybe not as much.
No, no, I don't think
I'm
so.
not
So
sure,
see,
but yeah.
uh, okay, you may be right because Amazon on Amazon there are different kinds of cost, uh, whereas on your own platform there's a different kind of cost. Domino's had a very good network, right? Very good system also, but ultimately they had to switch on to Zomato, Swiggy, and all simply because they were necessary evils, right? Today, Domino's give a good margin to Zomato, Swiggy, and all. So these aggregators and all, and that is the case with most of the brands. But at the same time, as these aggregators have grown, right, they have also started offering competition. Now you have to market. So if let's say if you have to be successful on Amazon, you have to advertise on Amazon. So it is not just there. You have to fight for the mind share of a consumer there on Amazon also. So it is becoming more and more difficult for all the people. Second thing is, I've recently heard the news where not recently, but there was a case where Amazon picked up best-selling products, replicated them, branded them, and started selling. So who died in this case? The business, right? Amazon is an aggregator. So Amazon is bleeding money. They are earning their revenues from somewhere else. This is a cash burn model for them. So they don't hesitate in burning cash. But can business sustain that? A business will not be able to sustain that, right? So in this case, what we are doing is, what are we charging from the business? We are charging only two things from the business. First thing is, when a consumer comes in, signs up on community cashback, makes a purchase, and that purchase also has to be for a minimum value, which is specified by us, right? Which is generally higher, 10 to 15% higher than their average order value. So what happens is that so there's a minimum value purchase that a consumer makes. On that transaction, we charge a percentage, right? It can be anywhere between 5 to 20%. That depends on the category and product. But that's what we charge, right? Which is much lower than even the customer acquisition cost that they spend on to acquire a customer on their platform, right? So that's the this thing we charge, and that too only after he has signed up. Now, when there is a referred customer that comes in, so let's say you are the customer and you have referred four people, one of them have come back, and when this person comes back, makes a purchase, makes a transaction, then we charge a new user acquisition fee along with the transaction fee, which is a standard 50 to 100 rupees. It can vary anywhere between 50 to 100 rupees. So the total cost that a brand has spent on acquiring a customer through our model is much, much, much lesser than what they would actually do on performance marketing or any other ways, or even give it to Amazon.
Yeah,
Does that answer?
I just have a small follow-up. So, the branding that is needed for that brand to do on your platform, let's say, how would somebody get to know that brand, like a brand like Domino's or any ABC brand is on your platform? So there would be certain branding cost that either the brand spends or the platform spends. So who spends?
Sorry. Let me clarify this thing. Uh, Domino's doesn't come on our platform. We go on Domino's platform. So what we do is our model actually runs on Domino's. So when you go there, you will see Domino's community cashback program, not share a card. So our name is only mentioned when you sign up the terms and condition, or when you actually as a user transfer cash from your dashboard to your bank account. Then you have to download our app, and that's about it. Otherwise, it will always be Domino's community cashback program.
Okay, so then they're having to spend some money to get that user into their app as well. So that's
They're
calculated in
already
the
doing it. So see, they're already doing it. So most of the brands are already doing it. So I was in a D2C summit in November, and believe me, most of them actually agreed that they have to get out of this Amazon thing, and they have to make sure that their platform, their own channel is much more stronger than Amazon and all, because they can't depend on Amazon or any other brand, any other aggregator.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you, Mr. Prashant. Over to everybody else as well for their questions. going in. Yes, Sarun.
I have a basic just a I just need a clarification regarding what you said about how you're integrating, like you're not inviting brands into your platform, but you are going out to those brands and you're integrating your services in their platforms,
Yes.
right? So initially, when a consumer is going to like avail those services, like at what point like is there any centralized platform that you are having where that consumer is eventually going to like utilize? Like initially, let's say he is going to Amazon's loyalty services and he's engaging there. But at is there a centralized platform that on your side where he can go once, let's say he is actually wanting to engage further?
Okay, so for everybody's clarity's sake, let me tell you what exactly we have. We have kind of a software, a SaaS platform, right? Uh, we have consciously, because like we said, that we want to make sure that businesses get stronger, they get more value. So our SaaS platform runs on their own channel. So whether it is a Shopify channel, whether it is a WordPress, Magento, PHP, whatever website they have, or a iOS or Android app, our platform gets integrated into their sales channel. A customer who comes on their platform, sees this is a loyalty program like any other loyalty program you see in the market. So there are a lot of companies who have created a tool for loyalty, and that's been running on, and that you can just get a plugin from them, pay monthly fee, and run that loyalty. We don't charge any monthly fee or anything. We charge only on transaction. If a consumer makes a transaction, so let's say if we have incurred a cost in implementation on Domino's platform, and not even a single user gets on board, I don't get even a single rupee. So there is absolutely no risk for the brand. So we don't have a common platform wherein, or a marketplace where all the brands, we onboard all the brands and then run this thing. We thought of doing that, but then we thought then we are generalizing it. So if I give my platform to Domino's and Pizza Hut as well, right, I am not creating a differentiation for Domino's. Then the same user is getting on Pizza Hut as well, same user is getting on Domino's also, and there's a competition which is actually happening. So consciously we said, okay, we'll be there in we'll be there for one particular brand in one particular category, and that's a conscious decision that we have taken.
Yeah, I understand that. Also, like you, until now, you have mentioned examples of like you have given a contrast of how Domino's and Pizza Hut are different in a way. Like aside from food industry, have you, collaborated with any other industries until now?
Okay, so see, we are a startup. We have just launched our platform. In fact, it is still in soft launch phase. We are improving it as we speak. But finally, we are talking to a lot of brands, including some Shark Tank brands. And believe me, see, it seems interesting, but it also comes with a lot of questions, right? For a brand, and since we don't have a big brand, we don't have association with a big brand right now. uh, Most of the brands are skeptical about how things will turn up. So they want to see it first and then get on board, which is a challenge with any new business. So if you go on start selling anything new, people will start questioning it. People will start questioning your motives. People will start questioning, what will you do with data? I don't care about data. Simple as that. But data can be generated any which ways. I don't need a brand for it. But at the same time, it's a concern that most of the brands will have, or brands have. Most of the market is actually corrupted by very I mean, I would rather say that, there is no differentiation amongst the loyalty programs also that are there in the market. So nothing, whenever there's something unique that comes up, there'll always be challenges. We have our algorithm of cashback, uh, uh, and honestly speaking, I can't give out details about that because I can't really trademark it, right? It's a calculation. It's an exhaustive calculation, but it is a calculation. So I can't really give it, tell a customer or tell a brand that this is how it happens. They'll have to take my word for it that will. So that's a large leap that they'll have to take. So I don't blame them. It's going to be a tedious process. We are trying to do whatever we can. And I think we're already speaking to some good brands. It's just about we need one big hit. So once that's there, I think it'll be a takeoff point for us.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions, Savnik?
No, for now at least.
Okay, let's go in with the next question. Yes, Parikshit.
Yeah, I had a question. Right. So you mentioned that in a year they can make around 5,000 cashback, right? So is that like a figure that changes depending on the brand, or is that a figure you've come up with based on certain research and so on to make sure that the model stays profitable for the brand?
So you said 5,000 in 1 year. No,
Yeah,
actually, I
across
said
12 months you mentioned per month. Yeah.
5,000 per month. So that is 60,000 rupees on a purchase of 1,000. So that's
Mm-hmm.
those are approximations.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, Usually, what happens is that, let's say there's a brand which has a average order value of 500 rupees, right? On that platform, we'd say that our minimum value purchase, MVP we call it, would be about 700, 750 rupees. Again, depending on the product. Uh, so the calculation will change. The minimum number of referrals required for a category like food would be higher. For a category like apparel or electronics or specific products would be lower, right? Then for a high value item, let's say if we are doing it with Samsung, right? Uh, average order value for Samsung would be about what? 15,000, 20,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees. So the cashback would be much higher. But at the same time, what happens is that you would not be buying Samsung phone every now and then. So you would buy probably one Samsung phone in a year or two Samsung phones in a year, let's say, right? So you would not get too much of reward points. So then the ratio of the reward versus cash would change, right? So you would get enough that after 1 year, when you are, fed up with your first phone, you have enough to upgrade it. So that's how, so all the dynamics will change depending on the customer, depending on the category. But yes, essentially, it will be like 5 times worth of 5 times cashback every month. So technically, in 12 months, it will be 60 times.
Mm.
So in Samsung case,
Right.
it will be
Then,
little lower because the value is high. So, but again, 3 to 5 times is what we say for all the brands.
right. So it's going to be highly personalized depending on each brand.
Yeah, obviously. So the system works in the same way. Only thing is that calculations will change.
Right. Got it. Thank you.
I have one question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like, how would your entire approach towards this entire SaaS tool will change if, let's say, you shift from D2C to B2B?
Uh, See, it doesn't work in B2B because B2B is single level of sales. When I say single level of sales is that, let's say if I have a manufacturer and a dealer becomes my let's say user, right? In this case, a dealer will not refer another dealer. So it doesn't work on that kind of a scenario. Maybe sometime later, what we can also do is like, there's a lot of referrals that happen in educational institutes. So, for example, an MBA institute would actually, or the students who are senior students would refer their friends, family, and most of the people. So let's say if my child is in a MBA college, a lot of family members would come back to me and say that, okay, your child is doing MBA, which one is the good MBA college? What is it? How's that college, that particular college, and all that. But I don't see too much of application there. I think for the time being, we'll stick to retail.
Got that. Thank you.
Yes, Rangnath.
So I mean, from a user's perspective, right, like, earlier you said, there are so many referral programs around us. It could be Rapidos or, or while using an American Express card. But so when I perceive it, the way that I see it is once my data goes out into a lot of different companies, I get tens of spamming calls a day in and day out. So every time I see, okay, one thing I agree with you that the referral value or the loyalty program value is so small, it's 100, 200 per person that I don't want to do it. Second thing that comes in my mind is, okay, if I refer somebody, again, they're going to bug them for, and it's going to be a bit of disturbance, and I don't want to give that to my own circle. So is that something that is already thought of in your model, or how do you perceive that as a marketer?
See, most of the people would think the way you are thinking right now. And we are okay with that. So we know that, our efficacy would never be 100%. Whatever we might offer, initially, there'll be a hiccup in referring people. We have made it very, very simple. So, it's just the name, number, and email ID that you have to provide. What we plan to market is as soon as you refer somebody, right? So let's say you have referred some guy named Saurabh. So as soon as you put a referral and put submit, right? A message will go to Saurabh saying that, hi Saurabh, you have been referred by Rangnath. He believes that the product on this particular website, or let's say Domino's, you would enjoy pizza at Domino's, while you would also enjoy earning cashback of whatever, right? So it's kind of a promotional message that will go to Saurabh. Now we may follow up with another SMS or WhatsApp message, or maybe an emailer, but that's about it. So because let's say you refer Saurabh in January, and Saurabh chooses to avoid it, and in December he wants to get on board, right? You will still get a cashback on that, even after 10 months have gone by. So that's the model where it is, and we know that it'll happen. So people will avoid giving this thing, but that's okay. We are hoping for 20%, that 20% of the people will do that. And that is exactly what we're looking at.
Got it, sir. And a small follow-up. So is there anything that as a marketer you could do to change the way that I think or users like me think and bring them onto more loyalty programs?
Yes, we will do that by telling you uh, maybe what you could have earned in 1 year, right? As a wrap up of the year. And that's about it. That's your call. See, we don't want to change consumer behavior. We have created this model keeping consumer behavior, current consumer behavior in mind. So we don't even want to try to do that. If you find value, you should be assured it should be your choice. You want to drive value out of it, you do that. You don't want to drive value out of it, don't do that. You don't believe it, don't do that. So it has to be your choice, and that's what that's the ethic that we have in our system. We don't want to change anyone. It's just an opportunity for everyone to gain. If somebody doesn't feel that it can give them value, let it be. So we are 1.4 billion, almost 1.44 billion people strong. I mean, see, you said about unicorns. I mean, for becoming a unicorn, we would need what, about 10 million transactions. So, so that's the kind of the moment we reach at 10 million transactions, um, throughout our systems, including all our clients, uh, the very next month will be a unicorn.
Interesting, sir. Thank you.
Does anybody else have a question? Because I have a question, so I just want
I have a question.
to go with it.
Like this entire loyalty model, like there is another model that I guess Zomato uses a lot about like how it collaborates with other, other applications and other companies. And it, when you, let's say, for example, we take GPay. When we do a transaction in GPay, we get a scratch card. If we scratch it, we get a coupon of Zomato to use. Right. So those are also ways to, generate outreach and generate customer engagement. Like, can we utilize it alongside the loyalty program model?
See, so the way our program is built, any other loyalty program or any other program can be integrated or layered on top of it. So this can be independent of it. But the only thing is, why confuse a customer with multiple loyalty programs? If you are happy with your existing loyalty program, then I would rather not, because see, I am very clear. I want only one brand in one particular category. So that limits me, right? I have only about 50 companies that I can reach to. So if there, let's say, 50 categories within D2C. First, I am only focused on D2C. Then in D2C also, I am focused on more kind of products or companies which sell products which are more generic in nature. So it's only about 50 companies that are my target audience. I already have a list of that. I don't want to go to anyone. So if you're already, if some brand is already happy with the kind of loyalty program that they are running, so let it be. Matlab, I have three other players who I can approach.
Got it.
Does that answer your question? Do you have a
Yes,
follow-up?
yes.
Please be
Um,
open. I mean, I'm sure if time permits, I'm okay. I'm available.
No, like what I feel is the model that I described or I like mentioned right now, it is not a loyalty program, but more of a like customer outreach program, where we are basically bringing customers from or bringing consumers from one particular sector into another sector by collaborating with other sectors. So like it is not exactly a loyalty program. So I was thinking about we can utilize the loyalty program and this alongside for additional, like when if we are trying to scale up or something.
See, yes, that can be done, but uh, what is the effic? I honestly don't believe. So whenever I make a payment from Paytm, Paytm gives me a scratch card,
Yeah.
right? I scratch that card that has some useless, some Mama Earth, this thing. But I have never bought a cosmetics in my life. Whatever I get, whatever I see, I use that, and if I ever use that. So I don't know what is the reason and why that Mama Earth is actually coming to me. I don't even know. It's because, simply that Mama Earth's products are so highly priced that they can offer 10% discount blanketly to everyone. So it's a coupon that, I mean, why would you go to have a 10% discount on something which is not even giving you value?
Yeah.
So, but still, it can run on top of it. So that's not a problem.
Mm. Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. So the question is more around your business. So you said that the only way you make a profit is when the consumer makes a first transaction. So we, up until that first transaction, we don't know that this model is going to work or not. So as a startup, how do you manage that risk of who you associate with, and how do you map, is it going to work? Is there going to be a transaction or not? Because if not, then there's no revenue on your side.
Okay, so see, we have already created the system. Whatever money we had to put in, we have already put in, right? Uh, our entire system is automated, so there is no manual intervention in it. So even the calculation and everything happens automatically, right? Um, so you know, we don't really know whether there'll be transactions that are happening or not. But going by the number, so let's say if there are 10,000 transactions that happen on a platform, let's say even if uh, for example, Domino's, uh, 90% of their sales actually come from Zomato, Swiggy, and all those aggregators and all food delivery companies and all. But 10% still goes to the website or the app, right? Um, Now, I used to have a Domino's app earlier, but I've uninstalled it, and now I use websites. Websites have become very mobile friendly, and I don't need to really download the app, because in any case, app has to connect to the server. I have to be connected to internet for that app to work. So I can do that the same thing on website as well, right? Now, websites also store my data, my login info, in case if there's a blip. Uh, so that can be done, right? Uh, now, 10% users which come on Domino's, let's assume, even if it is 10,000 numbers, right? Even if 10,000 numbers is there, we are assuming that 20% of it would usually fall into the loyalty kind of a category. Obviously, there has to be some promotions that we'll have to do on the Domino's website itself, but 20% is a good number. So 20% means 2,000 users get on my platform, right? Now, even if we are doubling those numbers through referral models and all every month, uh, can you tell me in 10 months' time how much those 2,000 would be? Not 20, definitely not
Yeah,
20,
you're compounding it by 10 times in 10 months.
not 10 times, not 10
No, I
times.
mean,
Let's,
you're
let's get it.
compounding it 10
2,000
times
to 4,000, right?
to
4,000 to
8,000.
8,000, 8,000, 16,000, 16,000 to 32,000, 32,000 to 64,000, 64,000 to 128,000, 128,000 to 256,000, 256,000 to 512,000. So 512,000, and 10th month it will be like 1 million. No, yeah. So uh, yeah, 1 million or 1 lakh, whichever. The number is still much, much, much bigger. So 2,000 customers reaching out to that numbers, and that number is only going to grow. That is only if it is doubling. If it is actually becoming 4 times, like you're referring 4 people, right? As the system starts giving cash back, right? More and more believability starts to happen. So if we have passed 1 year, even if with abysmal numbers on Domino's, so let's say we started with 2,000 and we ended up with only 10 times, so 20,000 in 10 months, right? That means those 20,000 people have gotten cash back. They have started to believe in the system that they will be getting cashbacks, right? After 12 months, the whole system renews, because it is applicable only for 1 year. Now my base from 2,000 has grown to 20,000. Now next year it will be multiplying from the base of 20,000, not 10,000, not 2,000. So numbers would be mind-boggling. I mean, we are not going by numbers. Numbers are mind-boggling when it comes to this thing. But yes, on a practical scenario, the growth would be very, very slow at the beginning. Um, but since it is zero risk to a brand, I think it will still give good numbers. We would not earn anything in first year. of operations. Hardly anything. We would hardly be able to meet our expenses, even if we have 10 customers in the first year itself. I don't think we'll be able to meet our fixed expenses. But next year we'll earn at least 3 times more than that.
Okay, I do have some follow-ups, but in the interest of time, I think we'll close the session for now. So there is a DT ritual that at the end of every session, we have some reflections from everybody who participated. We gather their insights, their learnings, what did they understand from that entire session. So I would invite 3 people to go ahead with their reflections. You can just unmute yourself and go. Who's going first? Let's Pariti.
I'll go in.
Yeah, Ranganath and then
Yeah,
Pariti.
again, yeah, again, thanks a lot, sir, for spending time, right? I mean, I myself try to always, sort of try to link marketing psychology, but I think the one of the, key points that I will be taking back is how do you maintain ethics, right? Like today, you see businesses can do anything to acquire customers or, to improve their base or, probably squeeze in money, as you were saying in the front end at the first. And then, customers are looking for more value or becoming a little bit smarter in terms of what they're buying, why they're buying, and who they go back to from time to time. So being ethical in business and even your model, right? Like fixing how you pick a brand that you're not going to pick up any competing brand with that, and you are going to work with your fixed set of clients in each industry and sort of see how do you multiply the customers and bring them back on the platform. I think those were some of the very key insights for me. Instead of focusing on quantum, but focus on giving the quality to each and every stakeholder in the system is going to be a lot valuable to me today. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ranganath. Over to you, Pariti. Yes, Mr. Prashant, do you want to add something?
Yeah. See, when we formed this company in 2016, we just had a trigger that this is what we need to work upon. So we created 6 guiding principles for us. Those 6 guiding principles are something that we want to adhere with throughout the life of the organization going forward. Because I believe that if you are not growing with your community, along with your community, uh, it doesn't feel right. Um, you know, you can uh, uh, you can fulfill what you need, but you may never be able to fulfill what you desire, right? So you should focus on what you need, uh, and grow with everybody. That's one of the basic, fundamentals that we started this organization with. We have seen our ups and downs in last 6 years. There were times when we almost thought that this is impossible to achieve. But I'm very, very happy that we have achieved this thing. So it's an accomplishment for me. Uh, how it fares in the market, uh, that's secondary, right? It's like having a child. So, having a child is like of utmost joy. I mean, when your child is born, you don't plan that she will become, whatever, a big businessman, a successful person or not. But it's just that, you would want to nurture her the best way you can. And that is exactly what we are doing, and that is exactly what will be keep what will keep doing. Uh, Business earning money is, yes, it is important. But believe me, like this model, uh, like we're doing it for businesses, we are doing it for this thing. We'll do the same thing with the any of the stakeholders that we have, all employees, all people. I'll give you just an example that it's been very clearly written in our guiding principles that we will never have no holidays or no vacation time for anyone, right? because anyone can take whatever number of vacations they want throughout the year. So it is up to them. So that's one thing that we have created. I don't know going forward how practical that would be. Some amendments, some things would happen, but then that's the idea, that life is not just about working. Life is also about enjoying. Life is also about family. Life is all. So we don't want to follow L&T or Narayan Murthy saying that you wish to work 7 days. No, I'm sorry. You need to enjoy. You need to live your life for 6 days. Work one day in a week. If that can give you enough to enjoy for 6 days, that is what you should be doing.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant, for that insight. But over to you, Paridi, for your reflection.
Uh, um, what Ranganath said, right, about sometimes not wanting to refer people because you don't want them to get a lot of calls or for their data to go out. So I realized a loyalty model, it can propel a good brand, but it can't, if people are not interested in the product itself, if they are not finding a lot of value in the product itself, then they may not want to refer it. But if they're finding value, then even if there is no loyalty model, they uh, refer it. A loyalty model just gives them more incentive to do that. There are a lot of products that I've used which I've referred to people without them asking for referral or without there being any referral mechanism, simply because I like that product and I thought, okay, I know this particular friend of mine is also interested in similar products, they would like it too. So I think for any loyalty model, as long as we're able to identify the right brands to associate with, the right brands that we would, ethically want to push forward, ethically would want them to succeed because they're doing something genuinely good, then I think that can make things a lot more easier, both in terms of choosing who to associate with and in terms of guaranteeing the success of the model as well. And what Sagnik brought up about collaborating with other sectors and the whole Paytm scratch card cashback thing, I think that is an example of a very uh, of like an incentive being shared in a very generalized manner. Like not a lot of thought is going into personalizing it for the customer in question, right? Like I don't know, recommending, I don't know, some products to me which I would probably never use. So on one end it doesn't get actually utilized, on the other end it might just create a very negative impression of the brand itself. Like when I see those scratch cards, they don't spark any joy for me or any excitement about what the scratch card will contain. For me, it's just clutter. I've made my payment, I want to log out, but no, now there's a scratch card on my screen which I first need to get out of the way. So if not enough thought is put into things, then instead of having a positive effect, they can end up creating more of a negative impression, which you might not want to create as a brand.
So believe me, we have put a thought 6 years. We have thought about it
No, no,
six
I
years.
can tell. I can
Yeah.
tell.
So yes, I agree with you. We would limit ourselves to product which offer value, products that we are user of, we or my family or people close to me or close to us. We would evaluate every product on those terms. Uh, Sometimes you really can't get into the real quality or this thing, but we'll try to keep our quality checks. That's a promise that I can actually make to everyone here. In fact, the first client that we are live on in a soft launch phase is Atulyam Wellness. So even in fact, if you guys want to go out and check the products there, some fantastic products I use myself, and that is how I can we approach them. He's more of a friend actually. So that's where we are starting from, and we would keep it uh, always with good products.
Yeah, thank you, Paridi, and thank you, Mr. Prashant, for bringing that point up. Anybody else wants to reflect on what did they learn? or any insights that you were able to gather? Yes,
I will
Sadik.
just share a small takeaway that I got from Mr. Prashant's words. That is how the current marketplace tools like Zomato and Amazon are sometimes not really benefiting, brands. Instead, they are harming them. They are sometimes taking away their customer share. If I talk from the perspective of, let's say, logistics and distribution, like Mr. Prashant said. So there are decentralized, like basically SaaS tools which are decentralized and which can be integrated into systems will not only bring in revenues to, let's say, the SaaS agency, but also to the company. It will not harm the company's distribution or customer engagement. So everyone is benefiting in it. The entire system is benefiting everybody. So that is this entire ecosystem I really liked. I really liked the idea of this entire ecosystem. So yeah, that's the takeaway that I got.
Thank you, Satnik. And in the interest of time, we'll be closing the session. Thank you, Mr. Prashant, for having this discussion with us. I think a lot of us got a lot of insights around
Thank you very
this.
much, guys. It was a good session. I talked a lot, but yeah. And if you have any questions, please, you can mail me, WhatsApp me, or call me. Not a problem.
Thank you, everyone.